Jeremiah 49:10. But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren, and his neighbors, and he is not. Before I get started, as always, I want to give all praise unto our power, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rachaha Kodash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutations and blessings to the hopeful elect that are scattered throughout the four winds of the earth that believe wholeheartedly in the true doctrine that is being pushed throughout the four winds of the earth, who are in hope of mercy and salvation during the time of Jacob's trouble, as well as when Yahweh Shai returns to the planet earth. To you and to you only I say Shalom, and may Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai continue to rain down grace and mercy upon you and your households. Okay. Now I just read Jeremiah 49:10, speaking about how the Most High is going to make Esau bare and uncover his secret places. And this is basically the sentiment of reality that we're living in right now. Everywhere you turn, Esau, Edom is being exposed. All right. I got two articles I want to bring, but I want to bring a third, but I'll speak on the third, dealing with the reach and purchase of the U.S. Bank in Los Angeles. Matter of fact, let's get that real quick. Let me just go here. This is one of the articles, but we're going to come back to this. I'm going to pull up a new tab. Okay. Who recently purchased the U.S. Bank in Los Angeles? Okay. Yep. All right. It says real estate mogul Larry Silverstein, which, a small hat, has finalized a multi-billion-dollar acquisition of the U.S. Bank Tower in Los Angeles, California. This move has sparked a wave of social media speculation given his historic ties to the World Trade Center complex. And what historic thing happened to the World Trade Center? Okay, going back to 9/11. All right, we know that those towers went down, and from those towers going down, from those towers going down, there was a matter of fact, let me see something. Look, everybody's talking about it, all on these different social media platforms. Okay, they're talking about the towers that went down, and this dude Larry Silverstein, he had took out or had a major insurance policy that he cashed out on, and it was said that he sat and watched the buildings come down. So what is everybody talking about? Everyone's talking about this could be the new T attack that happens on the or the next, or one of, not just the next, maybe possible one of many T attacks on the U.S. soil. Okay, that's gonna bring more legislation, more lockdown, more surveilling, and ultimately the issuing of the MOTB, because they have to have this chaotic state. All right. And everybody's talking about it. Everybody's talking about this purchase by this dude, but they're all saying the same thing of the 9/11 so-called conspiracy. Okay. Matter of fact, let's do this. Okay. Okay, what is the conspiracy behind it? Let's see what comes up. I see it ain't nothing popping up. Same thing is saying. Check this out. It says Iran's Secretary of Security. I'm gonna click that. Hold on. Yeah, these devils are they caught, man. You know, they're caught, and yeah, look, check that out. Check that title out. Iran's Security Chief warns of alleged plot by EP network to blame Tehran for 9/11 style attack. All right, and this was just a couple days ago on the 15th. Okay, so the whole world is even Edomites. All right, they got the playbook of Esau, Edom. He can no longer deceive with his deception as he's done over the years. Everywhere he turns, the average person is bringing out information and tying it to this devil in one way, fashion, or another. All right, he's exposed fully. All right, and so what's gonna happen is he gonna lash out with violence. This is what's coming next, because his deception is no longer working, and all he has after that is his sword. All right, he gonna come down with great violence, as the scriptures tell us in Revelation the 12th chapter, in the 12th verse, which we'll get. All right, he no longer fooling nobody. Social media is exposing them, especially these small hats. All right, because the small hats are behind everything. All right, they're being exposed. Okay, and the only thing left for them to do is lash out with violence. Okay, when you can no longer deceive nobody, okay, and you're caught, what's the next thing this devil gonna do? He gonna come with great violence, as the scriptures tell us. All right. It says, security of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, Ali Larijani, has warned of what he has described as a possible conspiracy to frame Iran for a major T attack incident. Azur News reports that Larijani made the remarks in a post on the social media platform X addressing the U.S. I've heard that the remaining members of the EP network have devised a conspiracy to create an incident similar to 9/11 and blame Iran for it. Iran fundamentally opposes such schemes and has no war with the American people. See? The September 11, 2001 attacks involved coordinated T strikes in New York City and Washington, when hijacked airplanes were crashed into major targets, killing thousands of people. Which we know, if you still living under a rock, you still believe that is what really happened. You definitely living under a rock. All right. It says Jeffrey E., a U.S. financier who was convicted of SEX exploitation crimes, died in prison in 2019, which we know is bullshit, while awaiting trial. His name has been linked to numerous influential figures in politics and business. There is currently a prominent conspiracy theory circulating on social media with many uses claiming that a second 9/11 style attack is going to occur in California. All right, going back to that bank, specifically targeting the U.S. Bank Tower. They allege that Larry Silverstein, who owns the U.S. Bank Tower in L.A., is involved. This claim is based on the fact that he allegedly made $4.5 billion in insurance money following the events of 9/11. Okay, and I believe it said that he purchased that tower for, I think it said 4.5 million or something like that. Some X amount of $1 million he purchased it for. Okay, check this out. Damn, this is crazy, because these are the articles that I wanted to bring out on the People's Voice. All right, but here you have a senior U.S. official resigns over Iran war, citing pressure from pro-small hat lobby. All right. So this was Trump's highest official in his administration, his counterterrorism official, Joe Kent. He resigned, and he put a letter on X. And in that letter, let me see if they have the whole letter. Oh, they do. They have the whole letter here. Okay. He basically is saying, excuse me, that he can't stomach the fact of knowing that the war with Iran was pressured by the small hats, and also that there could be a T attack, okay, on the U.S. soil. So let's read a little bit of this one. It says, one of the top counterterrorism officials in the U.S., Joe Kent, has resigned over his country's war against Iran, Azar News reports via Al Jazeera. On Tuesday, he published a copy of this resignation letter on the social media platform X, addressing his correspondence to U.S. President Nero 47. He said, I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran pose no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from small hat and its powerful American lobby. Okay? So, let me see if I could make this big here. Okay, it doesn't have the entire letter, but I do have the entire letter. Okay? So, let's go to there. Let's go to that real quick. Pull up all tabs. Is this one it? Yeah, this is it here. This is the entire letter. So let's read a little bit of this. This is his resignation letter as the counter T attack he's the top counter T attack director in Nero 47's cabinet. He resigned because he see the bullshit. He see the small hats are controlling everything. Okay? This system is over. All right? They're divided. The Heavenly Father is exposing these devils. And even Edomites are throwing in the towel because they see ain't no fixing this, man. All right? They see this thing is circling the drain, and they don't want to be a part of it. And they go into social media, and they're letting the world know who's truly behind what's going on. All right? And the world officially knows it. Okay? You got all these videos popping up on this dude, Larry Silverstein, on different people's platforms, calling the T attack before it even happens. I'm talking about regular people. Okay? The Most High has exposed this devil, and he did it beginning with his prophets. All right? The prophets started a trend in this whole social media era. All right. It was the prophets who were speaking of things of this magnitude, and now you have the entire world, average people, speaking the same thing, bringing out information, pulling up receipts, right? Especially with this Larry Silverstein guy, okay, that bought the U.S. Bank Tower in downtown L.A. Okay, so the average person is doing exactly what the prophets have been doing, except they're not linking things to the Holy Scriptures. All right, that's our job. But the average Joe Blow is putting the pieces of the puzzle together and following the money and seeing that the small hats is behind everything, and that the plotting and planning that they're doing. Okay, this is what's going on in the planet Earth, and this is why Esau is going to lash out with great violence. All right, because when you no longer can deceive nobody, you know, everybody's just looking at you like, okay, now what? What you gonna do next? Okay, and he gonna be, you know, a motherfucker that's caught. First thing he do is lash out. You know, he try to explain himself, and ain't nobody hearing that. Then he gonna lash out. All right, and that's what's getting ready to happen. Okay, he's getting ready to lash out with great violence, man. Okay, it says. Start here. Let's read a little bit of this. It says, after much reflection, well, I'm going to start. I read that part already. It says, I'm here in the third paragraph. I support the values and the foreign policies that you campaigned in 2016, 2020, 2024, which you enacted in your first term. Until June of 2025, you understood that the wars in the Middle East, so-called Middle East, were a trap that robbed America of the precious lives of our patriots and depleted the wealth and prosperity of our nation. In your first administration, you understood better than any modern president how to decisively apply military power without getting us drawn into never-ending wars. You demonstrated this by killing Qasem Soleimani and by defeating ISIS. Salakia, this is some small writing. It says, early in this administration, high-ranking small hat officials and influential members of the American media deployed a misinformation campaign that woefully undermined your America First platform and sold pro-war sentiments to encourage a war with Iran. It says, this echo chamber was used to deceive you into believing that Iran posed an imminent threat to the U.S. and that should you strike now, there was a clear path to a swift victory. This was a lie and is the same tactic the small hats used to draw us into the disastrous Iraq war. And you got the dude, I always forget his name, retired Army Ranger Jake with the dreads, man. I always forget his name, but he basically said the same thing. Okay, it says that cost our nation the lives of thousands of our best men and women. We cannot make this mistake again. A veteran who deployed to combat 11 times and as a gold star husband who lost my beloved wife Shannon in war manufactured by small hats, I cannot support spending the next generation to fight and die in a war that serves no benefit to the American people, nor justifies the cost of American lives. So it's over for this place. This is a very decorated war vet. And all these vets are coming out of the woodworks, man. All of them are coming out of the woodworks. They not with it. I seen something earlier before I laid down that a bunch of top generals totally left and resigned from their positions in the military because they not with this war with Iran, because they know who it's for. All right, the small hats. So not only is the Lord exposing Esau, Edom, he's divided them. And a house divided cannot stand, as we know. Okay. Matter of fact, let's bring that scripture in. Okay. House divided cannot stand. Okay. Matthew 12:25. And Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation. And we're seeing the unraveling and the desolation starting to come to full fruition with all this division inside the U.S. government. You have the top counterterrorism director, Joe Kent, decorated military vet, all right, who straight up resigned and wrote a letter and made it public to the world that he can't do it because he don't support who's truly behind this war with Iran, all right? And you got many military men making the same sentiment. I'm gonna put that in Google, see if anything will pop up. It says, and Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. Okay? And this is what's going on. Let me get to one in Luke. Luke 11:17. But knowing their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and a house divided against a house falleth. Okay? And this is what we're seeing. We're seeing the fall of the Babylon, mystery Babylon, great Babylon, a.k.a. the U.S. of A., America. We're seeing the downfall of it from the inside out, all right? Which proves that you Edomites, your time is up, all right? This is why you're going to lash out with violence, all right? Violence is what's coming next. You can no longer hide yourself, all right? Everywhere you go, it's a flashlight right on your ass, catching you red-handed in whatever type of mischief you getting ready to cause. Okay? Constant catching your goddamn hand in a cookie jar. You can't do nothing. You can't do nothing without you being exposed. And this began with the prophets. Matter of fact, let's get that. Thessalonians. Okay? It began with the prophets exposing your ass. But now you got regular people, okay, exposing you. And that's the spirit, man of lawlessness. Talking about Esau, right? Go straight to the point. 2 Thessalonians 2:3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, us as a nation, right? And that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. And he's being revealed like there's no other. You can't hide, man. Ain't gonna be no sneak tea attacks and everybody not know what's happening. The only ones that's not knowing what's happening is those who are still stuck on your mainstream media and listening to your propaganda and believe that that's the real news. Pretty much everybody is resorting to alternative media, social media, and, vouching for one another. And really the whole earth is against what these small hats are doing. The whole earth sea is the small hats. And they're bucking and they're coming up against their ass, man. Okay? Verse 4, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God or that is worship, so that he as the Most High sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things. And now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. And this is definitely the time the Lord has opened up for his revealing. All right? This is that time. Because Paul says here in verse 7, for the mystery of iniquity doth already work. That was in Romans back then, 2,000 years ago. He was saying they already at work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. Right? So the Most High lets you rack up all these charges, and you're going to continue to rack up the charges because you still got to implement this MOTB. You still got to create mass genocide, which that's all on the way. That is all right here on the horizon. Okay? And then you're going to be taken out of the way. All right? 8. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, the prophets. He's being consumed by the prophets, man. And so much so now you have, like I said, everyday regular people exposing these people, man. Okay? And shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Excuse me. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness, right? And them that perish, because those, that believe these devils and that will perish. The reason so is because ultimately they love not the truth. They didn't want to adhere to the truth that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai had put out for his people. All right, showing you first and foremost by the mouth of his prophets, all right, what was getting ready to happen. And since you didn't want to take heed, you will be destroyed right along with Esau, Edom. You're going to get exactly what he get. It says because they received not. Salakia. Because they received not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. All right? And you've been given a strong, I'm gonna end it there as far as this scripture. You've been given a strong delusion. Okay? But it began with the prophets exposing these devils, man. All these Edomites are devils. Okay? And even Edomites are exposing their own. Okay? This is why I read Matthew 12 and Luke 7. They're divided, man. Okay? A house divided ain't going to stand. They getting ready to go down, and they going to go down hard. And I believe it's going to be these Edomites that bring this civil war to the forefront. All right? Because they're the ones, they see that the small hats are controlling their beloved America. All right? That their Nero 47 is totally being controlled by the small hats. It's only a matter of time before the Lord put the spirit on them to straight up roll up with their ARs drawn, and we see a real life scenario like the movie Civil War. All right, because that's what's coming. Okay, especially when they try to implement a mandatory RFID micro C-hip. Because a lot of these Edomites understand and know that micro C-hip is the mark of the beast. Okay? So the future of America is going to be very violent. Okay? That's what's coming. It's going to be very violent, sorrowful, okay? And much tribulation. Okay? But this is all for our benefit, us hopeful members of the elect. These things must happen so that this empire of Esau can go down, our Lord can return, and we be risen. Lord will be a part of that number. all right, to establish righteousness back in the planet Earth, all right, by way of Yahweh Shai putting the house of David on his shoulders to order the government of the world, which will be the house of David, okay? So let me go back to, which I ain't gonna read no more of this article, that's pretty much it. Let me get this other article that I have, which we won't read this whole thing, okay? But this is another small hat exposing, okay? And this is all based upon which many brothers did a video on when Tucker Carlson, which we believe he's controlled opposition, when he did the video with that small hatter, I forget his name, and he was saying, why do they have rights to the land? As a matter of fact, let me read this, and I think I have it paused here on the article. It says, Iran releases proof Israel plotting mass shooting T-attack, false flag at Tucker Carlson event, okay? And I believe I had it paused. Yeah, I do. Here we go. Okay, and this is you know, they had been setting the stage, I believe. Okay, just like that dude, they did that assassination on the Charlie Kirk, when he started to speak against the small hats, which I believe that was a double F. Okay. Well, now they're saying same type of event is gonna happen at the Tucker Carlson event, and his life is in danger because of him so-called exposing the small hats. As a matter of fact, look right here. See, I didn't even read this part of the article, but it says it. I'm gonna read just this paragraph. It says, the source says the primary goal of the planned mass shooting is a mass psychological trauma, an entire nation forced to watch a prominent dissident voice slaughtered in real time, mirroring what he described as the atrocity exhibitions performed by Mossad in the Kennedy assassination, 9/11, and the recent assassination of Charlie Kirk. Okay, I just said that. It says the CIA has been involved in each of the false flags, and it's involved in the setup this time as well. Okay? And, you know, we all saw this. I'm going to play just a little bit.
With U.S. ambassadors in Israel, why couldn't it be? So this is a small population of people.
We all seen this.
Have connection to this land.
Okay?
Historically, biblically, do they? Yes, they do. If BB's family, we know they lived in Eastern Europe. There's no evidence they ever left here. He's not religious. But in what sense, but ancestrally, do we have his family tree? No, we don't. Do you? He doesn't. So no one does. That's the point. So how do we know that he has any connection at all? And if there has been a practice of Judaism and a connection to the
So don't be surprised. I ain't going to play all of it because we've seen it. And you can go to People's Voice, and this is one of the top articles of the day. Okay, this is you know, we've seen this, and they're plotting and scheming, but the whole world is everybody's up on game. Okay, as we just read here. Okay, everybody's up on game, the same playbook. And I believe they put this, which this was a truth sharing interview. It had some true points. Tucker Carlson was making some true points, but we believe this is a part of the controlled opposition in order for them to make these things look real. All right, like they're, you know, the like in this case, they looking to gun this man down at his event. Okay, which I don't know when his event is. I was trying to skim through to see if there was any dates, but all in all, we know that this devil is caught. The Most High has uncovered his secret places. He can't hide no more. All his propaganda and everything is being questioned left and right. Even them being in the land is being questioned. Like, who said you were the people? Okay? So what's next this devil gonna do? He finna lash out with great violence. All right, let's get that. Revelation 12. Okay? Revelation 12 and 12. All right? And I'll end it here. You know, after the Lord has exposed this devil, the Lord is getting ready to allow him to come down with great violence. All right? Because he no longer can deceive. All right? The deception is no longer working on the masses. All right? It's only working on a few. Those who still think CNN is the real news, who think Fox News is the real news. Like I mentioned, the vet, damn, I always forget his name, but Jake with the light-skinned Jake with the dreads, and all these different vets are coming out of the woodworks and basically exposing, you know, those that have went over and fought in wars and seen their comrades and whatnot get put to death, and throughout the years have studied and found out that all in all, them going to war was all in the interest of the small hats. Had nothing to do with the protecting the American people, you know, had nothing to do with freedom, but all in the interest of the small hats over there in that region that they call the Middle East. All right? And they all are saying the same thing. They not trying to be a part of it. Okay? Oh, that's what I said I was going to do before I do that. Let's do that. I said I was going to bring up another tab. Generals resigning over war with Iran. And put in U.S. military generals. Let's see what comes up. Okay, we read that one. Joe Kent, all right, he resigned. His resignation. And this is basically trending news. Okay? With the Joe Kent thing. Yeah, this is trending. Yeah, they all talking about it. He's the head of the National Counterterrorism Center, and he resigned. That shows you that it's over, man. Maybe this is what I was seeing earlier, but they didn't mention his name. Okay. But all in all, we see Babylon is falling. All right. And the mighty men ain't trying to go to war for the small hats. Okay, ultimately. It's over with, man. Okay, this is Revelation 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. Okay? For the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And these devils know that they ain't got much longer. Everybody's exposing them. Okay? Scriptures tell us heaven shall reveal his iniquity. Let's get that in the book of Job. Okay? I believe it's Job 12, but let me type it in. I'm going to type in reveal his iniquity. Oh, Job 20. Okay. Job 20 and 27. It says, the heavens shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against him. And that's what's happening. The whole earth is rising up against these devils, man. Okay? The whole planet Earth is rising up against Esau, Edom. But yet and still, you got Israelites that say that Edom can make it. And that's neither here nor there. All right? But we're going to throw that, you sellouts out there. All right? The whole earth is rising up against this devil, man. All right? The increase of his house shall depart, and his good shall flow away in the day of his wrath. This is the portion of a wicked man from the Most High, and the heritage appointed unto him by the Most High. See, the Most High is behind exposing this devil. And ultimately, once he's done exposing him, okay, this devil, like we just read in Revelation 12, he getting ready to lash out with great violence, and then he's going to be destroyed by the brightness of Yahweh Shai's coming. All right, but in the process, he will destroy many Israelites, many people on the planet Earth. Okay, because if his whole mindset is if he can't have it, ain't nobody gonna have it. Okay, so I'm gonna end it there. Lord will, this was edifying to the hopeful elect, giving all praise unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And we on to the next. Shalom, shalom.